On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
The Senate version of the One Big Beautiful Bill has passed the House of Representatives, which means that the One Big Beautiful Bill, the version without the National Firearms Act reforms that could have been in there, but the Republicans decided that they would continue to make you register constitutionally protected property. They decided to keep that in there and pass the bill anyway, due to some fictitious time frame that was just made up because they wanted to be able to hit the July 4th deadline. So instead of doing it right, they rushed it through, and the bottom line is you got screwed. Today's video is brought to you by XS Sites. I'm out here today preaching the good word of the XS Big Dot site. If you don't like the XS Big Dot site, then you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. XS makes a whole bunch of different site profiles, not just the Big Dot site. They also do scope bases, optics rails, and even handguard rails now. And XS has been a long time supporter of the channel, so I very much appreciate them supporting the mission here at the VSO Gun Channel. Let's get into the video.
Look, any of these individual achievements would be historic victories for a Republican Congress or any Congress. And today we're delivering on all of them in one big
bloated debacle. The Speaker of the House can't even keep straight face on that one because he knows that they failed. They bent the knee to an unelected bureaucrat that was installed under Barack Obama by Harry Reid. That person dictated what was in the bill and what was not in the bill. And I would say by design. They bait and switched us. The Republicans failed us yet again. They screwed us yet again. They betrayed us yet again. We knew that they were going to do it. Let's be real. But we fought the good fight. We brought it to a point where we didn't think it was going to get, where they were debating it on whether to put it back in to last night. I was watching it at midnight when they were deciding on whether or not they were going to make it go through an amendment process where that amendment would be in there. And I don't know what kind of backdoor deal was made, but they sold us out as they do. And that's okay, folks, because at least now we have a clear direction to go in for the midterms. Vote them out. This was a litmus test for Republicans, and they failed spectacularly.
What they saw on display here today is that Democrats deliver performances and Republicans deliver results.
Yeah! By results, what they mean is reducing the NFA tax on suppressors and short barrel rifles to $0 instead of excising these unconstitutional regulations from the U.S. Code that infringe on American citizens' right to keep and bear arms, their fundamental rights, and have been doing so for almost 100 years. Because now that these fuckwits have done this, the next Democratic administration that comes in is greenlit to raise that tax to whatever the fuck they want. $20,000 for a tax stamp. Because these idiots left it wide open. Because they lacked the political will to do it. The short-sightedness to just leave the American people's ass hanging out so that it can be clapped later by big government. Thank you, Republicans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the Senate and everybody else who is involved in this, because you have royally fucked us. So basically, what we're left with now is that we, the people, are going to have to sue the government. And it's going to take years to litigate that, and millions of dollars to litigate that, to challenge the constitutionality of the NFA restrictions now that the tax is no longer being collected. And that relies on the Supreme Court, who lately has been pretty terrible when it comes to accepting cases, granting certiorari for cases that deal with the Second Amendment. They have had innumerable chances to alleviate the burden on people's constitutional right enshrined in our Constitution, but they have declined to do so. So what chance does something like this have with those folks? I am not counting my eggs. I do not trust them any farther than I can throw them. The Republicans are going to start talking some smack about doing a 2026 reconciliation and fixing all the holes that they left open in this one. Bullshit. None of us believe a word that you are saying. This is the same thing that you did last time around when you had an opportunity to pass the Hearing Protection Act and you failed. You betrayed us. And as far as we're concerned at this point in time, as far as gun owners in the United States are concerned, y'all can go to hell. We will not show up for you in the midterms. It's not going to happen. You guys can lose your seats. And you know what? As long as the government remains divided, because I've seen some people say, oh, well, you're just going to hand all the power over to the Democrats. No. All they need is one chamber. They had an opportunity to capture all of the goodwill, and they turned their nose up at it. So as far as we're concerned, we can go back to the status quo of gridlock, the way government should be. If you can't do anything because you can't get anything done, then that counts for the tyranny as well. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Not a good day. With thunderous applause.
Yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted. Trying to convince everybody this is the very best product that we can produce, but I feel good about where we are and where we're headed, and stay tuned. There's more conversations to be held.
Can you talk about your conversations with the House Freedom Caucus, since the chair continues to say that he's a no?
Yeah, I've talked to Freedom Caucus members, I've talked to Budget Committee members, I've talked to members from the swing districts. I mean, every caucus in the House has had the Speaker's attention. I've heard their concerns about it, and the thing about it is when you have a piece of legislation that is this comprehensive and with so many agenda items involved, you're going to have lots of different priorities and preferences among people because they represent different districts and they have different interests. But we can't make everyone 100% happy. It's impossible. This is a deliberative body. It's a legislative process. By definition, all of us have to give up on our personal preferences. I never got to ask anybody to compromise core principles, but preferences must be yielded for the greater good, and that's what I think people are recognizing and coming to grips with. And this is part of the process. It's a consensus building operation, has been from day one. This is the culmination of 14 months worth of work, and I believe we're going to deliver this, get the ball over the goal line. So stay tuned.
Just remember that the Second Amendment is a preference.